You ever been to school? Did you go to school when you were a youngster? Maybe you're still a youngster. Been to school? Have you worked in a school? You walked by a school? Ever heard of schools? Well, I watched this documentary on HBO Max a couple of weeks ago called Thoughts and Prayers, and I thought it was very, very interesting. In that it had was about schools. Was It's centered around this particular school in Medford, Oregon, I believe, and the movie was directed by Zackary Canepari and Jessica uh, Dimmock. So that's who made the movie. Just so give credit where it's due. So yeah, it's really quite an interesting piece. It's kind of a verite thing. There's not any voiceover that's telling us exactly what's going on, or gives any commentary or argument with anything that's going on in the screen. Particularly, there's some text that sort of explains things a little bit, but other than that, it's all just footage of schools, and a lot of footage of like trade show guys. Okay, what it's about? It's about school shootings. It's about protecting schools from school shootings. It's about the hysteria around school shootings and safety. So, there's a million schools in the USA, say, and there's a shooting in one, then it's a red alert for all schools to watch out and get security people in and do something to make sure that their school, it doesn't happen at their school. Well, um, there is a text on the screen that talks about how the federal government a few years back gave $1 billion or a couple of $1 billion, whatever, some sort of billion, to the efforts for school security, school safety, and security. So what we see in this movie is basically the manifestations of that, which is actually a variation of the military-industrial complex at home. So you have all these, so all this money has gone into this business, right? So now there's all these consultants, all this industry into the protection of schools. So we see consultants. So one guy has a table that you fold over, and then the top of it is bulletproof, and you can slide along beside it and be safe. One guy has some sort of doors. One guy has glass that you can machine gun and then hit with a hammer and it won't break. So all the schools need to get this kind of glass. So it has all this like really expensive gear and all this stuff about the military industrial complex end of all this sort of thing. So it's all these ex-military dudes, and this is really a variation of the military, and it's the military coming home. So it's just what America has become, this sort of gun-plagued military mind, psychotic zone where, as well as everybody being alienated from everything else, and the schools not being. I mean, school wasn't fun when I was there years ago. So it's like I'm not surprised by school shootings, and the relative few that there are. So In this thing, this place in Medford, Oregon. All right, I grant that this school has a particular issue. I didn't look this up. Actually, I was going to look this up before to make sure this is actually true. But apparently, right before the school year, one year, a guy that had been hired as a janitor turned himself in and said, "Hey, I was going to do a shooting in school and I had it all planned out." And so they went to his house and he had all this, hardware, all these guns and all this shit. So they decide, so that's how they got alerted to the risk. So they had this real, actual, according to the movie, substantial risk factor really there in Medford, Oregon. So what happens, like, over a certain amount of time, the whole town gets into this thing of bringing the consultants in and all that, of doing this like town-wide fake enactment of a school shooting. And they show the vendors that supply the, like, a makeup effect, so you can get, like, things you can paste on your face to look like half your face is blown away, so you can make your school shooting thing look more realistic. So they have this, and they put this on certain number of students, and they're to lay around the hall. They're going to play the victims, and they hire four dudes. I think it was four, maybe it was three, but it's four active shooters to enter the school, so that they're in their little cosplay shooting thing here. They have four guys. Like, okay, what's that's kind of more of a, like, terrorist or gang activity or something. That's not really what the texture of the school shootings we have seen. Like, I think, okay, maybe the max was two, which was what, Columbine with the two guys, but I think they're all been kind of soloists after that, the lone nut kind of thing. But in this, we have four cosplay dudes that walk through the school, and everybody, and they're pretending that they're the shooters have guns, and they go around doing this thing. And so we see that all go down, and so it's like, well, what is this supposed to, is this a drill that is it going to be like for people to practice, go to places to be safe, or it wasn't exactly clear, other than just to have this this spectacle of this, to increase the fear of the whole thing. I mean, one of the consultants, he says, we're preparing because it's not a matter of if, but when. So, if you're telling kids it's not if, but when, isn't that kind of, a bit kind of terroristic itself, to tell a kid that, someday you're going to have a shooter come to your school and shoot everybody up and you might be killed. So, so not if, but when. So, like, to me, that was just beyond something that should be done, and that was abuse of children, and the whole thing is abuse of children. They had a kid sitting there, and he's like, just really kind of upset about, all these shootings and da 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 da. And, I'm probably, it's the most, he gives the impression that school shootings is the number one cause of death for young people, children. Well, I looked it up, and actually it's kind of in between automobile accidents and firearms, but not necessarily school shootings. It was like, whatever. Some sort of crossfire, or some sort of gun found in the home, or something like that. So it's not just always school shootings, but accidents, automobiles, of course, is notorious as being, the most dangerous things you can do kind of regularly. People don't think about. I do. I get scared when I'm at cars. Don't tell anyone. So I thought it was really interesting. Another part of it was, we're teaching the school marms to have shoot guns. So we go to we meet these kind of normally kind of like they seem like nursery school teacher types, just sort of nice little kind of chubby school moms and kind of middle aged and with the little glasses and kind of conservatively dressed. And what are they doing? They are at the gun range learning how to shoot guns. Like, oh, just look at the gun and pull the trigger, and it was very patient instructor with, of course, his military background, whatever, is teaching these teachers to use guns, and the idea is that they would be carrying concealed weapons in their classrooms, and they would be protecting children from the active shooters. So yeah, I don't know if I don't necessarily think teachers with guns is a very good idea, okay? But, whatever. I don't have any kids, and, you all do what you want to do, okay? So that's Thoughts and Prayers, and, it's not a series, it's a movie, 125 minutes, and, it's quite interesting, so on HBO Max. Now I want to turn to something that's sort of returning to a topic that I talked about the review of the book. I Can Never Call Him Dad Again, which was about the case in France where the man, 60-year-old man, whatever, had been drugging his wife and bringing other men in to have sex with her, and then videoing it, and the big trial that followed, and all that. So comes up today, or a couple days ago. There's yet another case. Actually, this is from Wednesday the 26th. Yeah, I didn't even know the type of attack existed. More than 200 women alleged drugging by senior French civil servants. So this is a story about this guy who was posting job applications somewhere, and women bringing women in to try interview for the job. And so during the interview, he says, "Oh, would you like a cup of coffee, please? Well, I have some coffee here. Would you care for some?" And being polite, they go, "All right," trying to play along with the interview because they want to get the job, right? So everybody wants to get the job at the interview. So what he's been doing is putting a drug that causes a real diuretic result, which is you have to urinate right away a lot, and so he would give them this drug and then take them on long walks. He said, "Oh, let's have a walk. It's a nice day. Let's have a walk and do the interview while we're out for a walk." So he would take them on long walks, and they would be in a place where there was no bathroom. And they'd say, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom." And he said, "Well, we can't get back right now." So, and so, they were forced to, piss in their pants, or, whatever they're wearing, or squat, somewhere. And, I'll shield you with my jacket if you squat. So, some kind of a sick thing with this dude. So he's been arrested and is going to be tried for that. But, it's like, okay, so yet another chemical thing in France. It's like, okay, weird. So this is in The Guardian, and I'll post something from it so you can look at it. So I think that's all I really have to say right now. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. All right.